What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel, and hey, as always, happy Friday. We're here today for another episode of The Lost Lands of Golarion. Today, for once, I get to pick the content on my own channel, and we're gonna cover Iblydos. If you have any requests for this series or any other series, throw them in the comments. We'll get right on them. Before we get underway, this episode of The Lost Lands of Golarion was brought to you by our newest patron, Mr. Tim Bartlett, who you might know as Goderic in Hail the Gorilla King. Thank you so much, my friend, for your support. Now, let's dive in. Iblydos is an island nation in an archipelago off the coast of Casmeron in the Obari Ocean. It's said to be among the oldest known human civilizations on Casmeron. There's not a lot known about it, although it's often grouped with other ancient empires of that continent, up to and including Kaskari and Ninchenbur, even though it's unclear whether they were located in the same general region. Those few histories which mention a connection indicate that Iblydos has a long-standing contract with the Cyclops nation of the continent, whom they labeled the Golarion. Some citizens of Iblydos even went as far as to join mystery cults that worshipped the Cyclops. The people of Iblydos owe their existence to the Cyclops that emigrated from Golgon during the Empire's decline, and though the giants have dwindled in number, they and humans continue to coexist on the archipelago. The greatest mortals earn the right of myth-speaking, in which the Cyclops foresees how that hero might attain mythic power, and we see that in distant shores, like we talked about when we did some homebrew for Hermes, and hey, if you missed that, follow this card right up here to be directed to it. Many of these so-called hero gods have since ruled one of Iblydos' city-states, granting spells to followers and heralding in a new age of prosperity or tyranny. However, since the death of Iridon, and prophecy itself truly, the tradition has failed with troubling frequency. Now the last hero gods age and dwindle, and a new generation of heroes, looking at you PCs, must arise to combat the greatest threat to the islands, the thalassic behemoth, Osmariku. Iblydos is known as the birthplace of many famous monsters, including the Medusa, the Hydra, the Harpy, and the Chimera, as well as the mystical race of Sphinxes, who have almost as long of a history here as they do in Osirion. Centaurs are said to originate in Iblydos as well, though if you dig around you can see that a lot of centaurs do live in Iobaria, and a lot of times in the Inner Sea, that's where they come from. Hey, if you missed that video, follow this card right up here to be directed to our coverage of the region. In addition, Iblydos is the birthplace of the mortal that would someday become the demon lord Baphomet, and as such, his faith retains a strong following here. Iblydos is a very fortunate land in and of the fact that it sits on a sea trade route known as the Obari Crossing, which begins in Katapesh, passes through Iblydos on its way to eastern Kelish and Vudra. The Iblydonian traders who have mastered this dangerous route are among the Inner Sea's most celebrated merchants. They bear exotic goods and secrets to wealthy buyers all across Golarion, and that's a great way to bring our PCs here to Iblydos. It's a little far off the beaten path, but hey, you never know. Maybe there's some merchant with some trade fleet that needs protecting from spooky sea monsters, and they're gonna stop off in Iblydos. Perhaps even in the city of Iliassos, which we see in distant shores. And boom, suddenly our PCs have gone to Classical Age Greece, which is our real-world equivalent for Iblydos. If I was to GM here, I talked about this a lot on the Hermes video. Classical Greek stuff is really cool, in my opinion. I really like it, and it's all the more reason to break out those Medusas, those Hydras, those Sphinxes, those Chimeras, those Scyllas and Charybdises, and everything in between. Also, I could see this being the home of the Astomoi race in Pathfinder, and if you'd like to learn more about them, again, follow this card right up here. Also, it's a good place to kick off a mythic campaign because mythic heroes are very commonplace both in Greek mythology and here on Iblydos. So if you've been hankering to break out all those mythic rules, all those surge dice we can throw at the table, or if you have players that would like to both become gods and rule cities, this is the place to take them to. But what do you guys think about Iblydos? Have you ever adventured here? Would you like to see more content for this place? Or maybe even, not unlike myself, do you see Iblydos as an excuse to play a cavalier who rides into battle on a manticore or a chimera or something real min-maxy and super powerful? Personally, I would love to see Iblydos appear in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, maybe even in Doomsday Dawn, which we're covering right here on Black Dragon Gaming. 6 lucky subscribers will be taken through that playtest. If you'd like to learn more, follow this card right up here to be directed to the giveaway. And remember, patronage at any tier gives you an extra entry in the giveaway. Thank you guys so much for your time. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. The next episode of The Lost Lands of Golarion, where we cover Vudra, drops next Friday.